And a lot of people start with water because if you get a glass of water with a pendulum, if you put the pendulum over water, the pendulum will spin in a direction indicating the charge of the water.
Oh, right.
When you put the water on the plate, then put the pendulum over the top, the energy will change, has changed, and the spin of the pendulum.
Okay, so you can see it. So another thing, I read on your site that with the water ionizer you can clean crystals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah? We used to have a girl that worked for us at expos helping a few years ago, and she would stand there with a plate in her hand on the stand, and women would come in and be curious, and she'd start chatting to them, and she'd ask them to take their stone jewellery off, put it on the plate for about a minute. Then she'd give the jewellery back to the women, and the main comment was it felt lighter. It felt they could feel the change in the energy.
Yeah.
And so crystals, like for example, quartz accumulates. As an example, you get your accumulated quartz, put it on the plate for 5 or 10 minutes. It'll rebalance the energy of the quartz.
Right. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, to me it's amazing. Yeah. Sorry?
Yeah, there are other ways of cleaning crystals.
Yeah.
But the plate's an efficient way of doing it.
Yeah, that's what you get it. It's just so efficient. And so the wand as well. Where does the wand come in? Okay,
wands it's a funny product. I started developing the wands only because many years ago wands became popular. With the wand, as I said a number of years ago, these wands came on the market which were made of stainless steel, and the manufacturers were asking huge amounts of money, and they were making all these claims. And I investigate everything. Because I can test energy products. I tested a few and was quite surprised as to what they were doing compared to what they claimed they were doing, and wasn't what they claimed.
Yeah.
And so I had a number of people saying to me, you should have a wand. So I decided to produce a wand. It took a while to work out the format.
Yeah.
Because it had to be like a wand, but it had to be unbreakable. Right. And some people criticise the wand for being made out of polycarbonate. However, it won't break in the mail. You can never break it. It could hardly break it in your hands.
Yeah.
So the wand is basically an energised piece of polycarbonate.
Right.
Well, how you use it is you use it on contact with the body. You use it on your meridian. So you might use up your central meridian. You might use it around your liver meridian, around your heart meridian, your triple warmer, whatever meridian that may be energetically blocked out of balance. Some people use the wand in their energy field over their energy centers, over their chakras. Some people who are really good at picking up negative thought forms or entities in the human energy field use a wand for clearing them also.
Right.
You can use it with your own intent. It's like an amplifier of your own intent to rebalance energies.
It's beautiful. So it looks really beautiful.
Yeah. So we have a lot of kinesiologists I know here in Australia, because we work quite closely with the kinesiology industry, and it's the best science to demonstrate how a harmonizer works.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kinesiologists love it because they're often using hand mudras in their clearing work, and they combine that with wand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what you're saying about, it being polycarbonate, but it's really attractive to look at. It doesn't sound like that when you describe it, but it is it's like having a real magic wand that really does.
The Harry Potter, yeah. It's as I said, the polycarbonate was important because we did do a few glass ones or crystal ones in the very beginning, and they just broke, and people were disappointed. There's nothing worse than tears when you open your box up and it's in two pieces.
No, you want something. So I've got a list of things I want to ask you, and I've asked you quite a lot of them, but there's one thing about. Is it true that these devices can work at a second location?
Yep, remote harmonisation. Yeah.
Yes. So how does that work?
We program our cells before they're sent out for the second location.
Yeah.
And it's like you hear of people who are Reiki masters who can send energy remotely to other people. Right. That works.
So you have to pre-program the device.
We program them, with the location or where it's going to be. Right. And we do that often for women who are worried about their kids at schools.
Yeah.
And energies at schools can be as bad as an aeroplane cabin because kids are so close together. And you look at what's going on in the school. The kids hate the teachers hate the kids, the teachers hate the parents hate the teachers. There's so much negative psychic impression in schools, unbelievable. Then go to the classrooms. And I remember when I was in primary school and high school, the classroom setups were that, and I think it happens all the time these days anyway, if you sat there in that chair, in that corner on day one, you're going to be there until the last day at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Everyone tends to sit in the same places. And so then what you have is a situation where you might be sitting next to a really sick kid who's sick all the time. So the sick kid's creating his own illness imprint in the space he's sitting because it's accumulated over a period of time. And I remember when I was a kid at school, if ever there was a sick kid away from school, I never went and sat in his chair because I could feel the energy. You could feel that distortion of energy and would interfere with the concentration and behaviour too.
Yeah.
So schools are really, really, really bad. And with Wi-Fi these days, as we mentioned before, there's a lot of fear around the Wi-Fi, and it is actually quite founded with the schools because you've got groups of kids with multiple devices sitting very close together. And then on top of that, we've got, earth radiation problems and electrical problems and lighting problems. I remember when I was a kid at school, all the lights were fluorescent lighting.
Yes,
wherever fluorescent light sheds light, that is the size of its radiation field.
Oh, right, okay.
I don't realise those compact fluorescent light bulbs, those new ones, those energy savers that they gave out in Australia many years ago free because they were better for everyone, which contain mercury, wherever they shed light, they create an electromagnetic charge, and you can't read it with a Gauss meter or a radio frequency meter.
Yeah, I mean, we personally we don't use them because we know that they're very unpleasant. They don't feel good, but I just know that a lot of people don't actually notice it, but it's still affecting them even if they don't notice it.
Gotcha. It's something that also had to be programmed into the Geocleanse in the beginning,
right? Because
there's something going on with the frequency of fluorescence that a natural negative ion or negative charge balancer like a salt lamp, and salt lamps work really well for small areas. A salt lamp, which is a natural balancer, will not neutralise the charge coming from a fluorescent light bulb. And
so
that's the same with the
salt lamps are effective, but they're just not strong enough to deal with our modern devices.
No. The salt lamps are beautiful, but they only work for a small area, for about a metre around. So you need lots of them, but they don't work against bioplasmic. They don't work against digital TV. They don't work against complex fluorescent lighting.
Yeah, so it's not. So if you say got a Geocleanse, it's lovely to have a salt lamp as an extra.
Oh yeah. A salt. It's a cube sitting just over there on the table.
I've got one within arm's length, but I know that it won't. I wouldn't. I've got the Geocleanse. We've got the Geocleanse in the house, so.
Yeah. But the salt lamp at night time creates a beautiful orange ambience.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a really nice thing, but it won't deal with what we're up against now. So I'm just checking my list to see if there's anything. Anything. I think we've probably covered all the things that I, was really burning to ask you. Yes, it was the bioplasmic. What do you call it? The residue of trauma of generations that have come before. What did you call that again?
Bioplasmic.
Bioplasmic radiation, yeah.
Yeah, bioplasmic. It's coming
bioplasmic radiation. Yeah. So that must be. We must have that over most of the world.
It's a big problem. It's a huge problem.
Because most places in the world, humans have been traumatized.
Yeah, it's a big problem. It depends on what's gone on in the space in the history.
Yeah.
It could be depression, could be war, could be violence, it could be all sorts of things. There are some nice clear spaces in the world. Don't get me wrong.
Exactly. There are. Yeah.
But another thing to mention, and we've got it happening right now. What people don't realise is that we've got Mercury in retrograde at the moment.
Right.
And Mercury in retrograde is where Mercury is creating a charge which is all pervasive throughout the solar system, and it's an electromagnetic charge. And it's like this morning we got out of bed and I checked the height at which the charge was coming down onto the planet, and it was almost to ground level.
Right.
And that has a huge effect on people. We've got some little programs in the Geocleanse to help alleviate that.
Does it completely alleviate it?
It doesn't completely alleviate it. We're actually still playing with programs while we've got Mercury in retrograde now to make it even better and better. Like we're always researching, we're always testing things, we're always looking. We've always got our radar up as to what's going on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For example, every day I check what's going on with solar flare activity, and thank God we haven't had a lot of solar flare activity for a while. But when we do get X and M class solar flares, especially the X class solar flares, that creates a charge that virtually comes down to ground level. And when that's going on, that's when I get lots of phone calls from people saying, you know, what the hell is going on today? They can feel something's in the air. There's some sort of agitant in the air.
What effect does that have on people?
It's an electromagnetic charge, so your body will come under electromagnetic stress. So, for example, if you go outside and away from your house now, the mercury charge will have an effect on your thyroid, your heart, liver, those organs. Solar flare activity might have an effect on your thyroid, your thymus, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your adrenals, as an example, your nervous system.
Yeah.
And so, you know, thyroid, heart, liver, adrenals, or thyroid, liver, adrenals, there's the endocrine system. And electromagnetic fields do act as a hormone cell, what's the word for it? It's a cell disruptor for women and men, but more so for women. And there's a lot of women's health proponents around the world who have been screaming for years that women should protect themselves from electromagnetic radiation because it's not good for your hormones. And women who are going through menopause tend to be more electro-hypersensitive than when they're not.
Right, just in that phase.
Yeah, that's the liver. Yeah. And that can stay like that from menopause for the rest of their life. Because
of that. So if they protect themselves against the electromagnetic stress at that time...
If you protect from the electromagnetic stress at the time, it will take the stress off the endocrine system organs, and it can help them get through that a lot better.
And that's going to affect the rest of their lives.
Yes, absolutely. So, like a huge amount of our customers are women from the age of about 45 to about 70.
Right.
It's amazing. It's generally that age group. The young ones are starting to get it.
Yeah.
Or the young mothers are getting it because they're hearing it everywhere, and there's a bit of fear. Fear generates it.
Yeah.
But it's 45 to 7-year-olds who've been through or in the process of menopause and their electro-hypersensitive gone up. They're the ones who are just loving the Geocleanse and the foam harmonizers and the pendants because it's taking that stress off the body and it's taking that discomfort.
I mean, really, think about it. Care homes for the elderly, they should all have these, shouldn't they?
Oh, well, say no more. They're full of dead people's energies. And dead people, and it's full of bioplasmic radiation from people dying and from diseased people. And unfortunately, a lot of elderly people lose their minds in old age, and there's a lot of negative psychic energy in those places too.